I came up on the beer balcony to do the introduction to the life of Gugu, and I want to stay up here. It's just so very, very pleasant. So it's prompted me to talk about something that I've had on mind for a while, and that's what's it like here in the Philippines. Why would I want to come here and retire here? Well, right now, with a beautiful fluffy white cloud sky, not quite so hot, I can just about see the sea from where I am. There's nowhere I'd rather be. In making the life of Gugu, we've been looking back on videos shot in our last 2 houses in Nottingham. They were special places, they were lovely homes. But ask me whether I would be back in either of those, living life as we did then, or being here. It's definitely a being here. Why? Life here is frustrating and challenging. There's just nothing it seems as though there's nothing like in the UK. The broadband is, for us, in our semi-rural location, atrocious. Very, very slow, which can be frustrating. You cannot rely on the search engines, Google and things like that, to find things for you, because the dominant marketing channel is not your own website found by Google as it is in the UK. It's Facebook. And I find that a real challenge, because I don't like Facebook. There's no Amazon, which is an absolute pain. There is Lazada, which we have been using, but because as yet we don't trust it, we were always cash on delivery. Over the weekend, they tried to make a delivery to us when we were not in. Reza spoke to them on the telephone and said deliver on Monday, but they haven't. They've returned the order with a note to say we hadn't got enough money to pay for it. Lazada has been deleted and will have no more business from us. Driving in the Philippines is very different. Very frustrating unless you can just sit back, let go, get there comfortably in your own time, and I do mean in your own time, because travelling is much, much slower, and ignore the idiots. Filipinos are lovely, lovely people. They're a real joy to be around. When they get in the car, there's a personality reversal. People go from being considerate and polite and engaging into being aggressive, pushy, dangerous. There's a kind of youthful machismo that overtakes you when you get in the car, and they're absolutely selfish, absolutely selfish. No sense of road position for other people. Does it upset me? Well, when I'm driving, I get a bit cross every now and then. But in the end, no, it's okay. It's okay. What else can I tell you about? Well, the weather, it's hot. Yesterday it was 41 degrees as we were driving away from the city back home. Today it's much, much more pleasant. So if you wanted to be here, it depends on what you are interested in and orientated towards. Catastrophe. So many things I had in my mind to tell you about, and I've started. Now I've just run out. I should have a little script. I'll edit this obviously very, very severely, and as things come to mind, I'll tell you about them. Diet is inevitably different here, and dieting a la Western style is extremely difficult. The first reason, which is my own fault, is at the end of a hot day when I'm winding down and relaxing, the gorgeous red horse is just too tempting. It's strong. But here, alcohol seems even stronger. You know, a litre of red horse, and I know I'm, well, beyond tipsy, moving towards grumpy, but not actually drunk. So that's being cut down and cut out for dietary reasons and grumpiness reasons. An awful lot of the food here is fried. The go-to cooking process, the go-to cooking method is frying, not griddling, barbecue. And when Reza's mum was here, we just had too much fried food. Since they've gone back to the city, well, two things have happened. We've used less gas, and we've used a lot less oil. I know that because we don't have to rebuy it. Bringing, or rather buying, a small oven, a tabletop oven, has helped because we've started baking things. The bread is so sweet, it's cake. And we've been struggling to find flour. We've found some wholemeal flour. I've got the bread maker, and I've got it wired up with a local plug. I've used it three times, with fairly indifferent results. The bread's coming out very heavy, but my kitchen weighing scales haven't worked since we got here. I don't quite know why. There's an error code on them that I can't solve. And the delivery I spoke about from Lazada being returned because we haven't got the cash, which has really pissed me off, was a new set of weighing scales. So that's on the shopping list for when we go into town, into the city. Talking about going into the city brings up the issue of COVID. The response here to any increase in cases is firm. I was almost going to say aggressive, but is firm. So at the end of last week, there was one day where there were 50 new cases within the city of Cebu. I'm not sure of the population of the city of Cebu, but it's got to be 1 million. There were 50 new cases. The response to that has been to firm up travelling across the city boundary. So basically, there is no leisure travel across the boundary. If you want to cross the boundary, you have to have proof of employment or an employment pass. You have to have a reason for going through the city, which is regarded as legitimate. Some of the barangay might be locked down, although the incidence of the 50 cases seem to be spread across the city, and outsiders are accused of bringing the virus into the city. By the way, outsiders mean people from one of the next door cities, from Mandaue or from Lapu-Lapu, which to us from the outside is really still referred to as Cebu, but not the city government proper, but the conurbation of Cebu. You know, it's a bit like cities or large towns within Birmingham or within London. Other than that, things seem to be a lot more relaxed. The risk of exposure seems to be much lower. People are disciplined in wearing masks. They will, partly because the shops are so insistent on it, wear a face cover when people go into the shops. There is an effort to track and trace, but it's not that very well policed. So I feel more comfortable here than I would do, I think, in Nottingham, where our friends are more or less confined to their house. Or I find myself wishing that they were properly confined to the house because of the incidence being so high. Beach life. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Rowan loves going to the beaches. The beaches down south are fabulous. It's 2.5 hours drive. If you want to go right down south, 3 hours plus. But beautiful white sand beaches, and the sea. Some places have swimming pools as well, and it's just very, very nice. It's just very, very nice. Is there anything that I could say I honestly dislike? Well, yeah, there is, and I dislike it a lot. But it's an abstract concept rather than something that impacts on our day-to-day lives. And that's the influence of the mega American corporations, some Chinese corporations, and some local ones as well. There are institutions like Jollibee. Sadly, Rowan likes Jollibee. The food is awful. I can't find another word for it. But to local taste and extremely popular. The food that you can buy in the supermarkets is dominated by big American businesses, and it's salt laden, it's sugar laden, it's not based on a health diet. No, so I'll turn that around. There is no sense of responsibility for health. This is sweet, this is nice, this is lovely, oh you really like this is branded. And it's difficult to find alternatives to that stuff. You go to the supermarket, the shelves are packed with snacks, they're packed with sweets, they're packed with chocolates. Our local market at the end of the road though is good. Lovely, lovely vegetables, which are relatively inexpensive. If you like meat, tough. Tough in two senses. There's chicken and there's pork. You will see beef steak for sale. That does look tough. That does not look like good meat. Does not look like good meat. That is obviously being imported frozen, cut frozen, and of course it's served in a fridge. So, but it tends to look gristly and it tends to look a bit fatty. Am I pleased we're here? Yes. Very, very. Of course I miss Ashley. I miss our close friends in Nottingham. When the internet allows, we chat online. But the time offset and the internet between them conspire to make that a bit of a challenge to achieve. Okay, well, edited or not, that's the end of this. There is a nice video from PhillyinthePhilippines or PhillyinthePhilippines. Reasons why not to retire to the Philippines. And the guy in that, I'll put the details below, but the guy in that has really hit it on the head. He's got the reasons why not cracked. But at the end of the day, it's just so nice. So very, very, very pleasant. But you have to do it with a sense of humility, a sense of engagement. I'm a foreigner, and I'm marked as a foreigner for several reasons. There is the idea, again from Philly in the Philippines, of the skin tax, and here on the edge of Cebu, Naga City, we've experienced that with some services. So we're just more disciplined in Reza fronting things and doing negotiation. And if we're in the car, we try and park it out of sight of wherever it is we're going to buy something, because Montero Sport is likely to attract a tax. What I mean by tax is things here aren't priced, or usually aren't priced at market stalls and places like that. So you ask what it is, how much it is, and they tell you. And if you're with a foreigner or an American, because they seem to think I'm American, then you pay more. Or if you've just got out of an expensive car, which ours isn't, but was when it was new, then you're likely to be paying a premium price for that. On the other hand, loyalty is appreciated. There's a store where we've been buying plants, but it's right up near the tops. It's quite a journey for us to go up there, and we've bought bamboo and other nice plants from there. And when we went back to buy some bamboo, which the guy had brought in for us, he told us when we ordered them that they would be 200 each. 200 is, where are we? £3 for quite big bamboo. So we went up yesterday to collect them, and when Reza came to pay for them, he said, "You're a loyal customer of ours, so I'm only going to charge you 700. It was nice. That was nice. So we've got 4 bamboo, each of which would cost us at least £15 in the UK, for something like £12. Somebody with real knowledge of local prices would probably say to us, at that price we were still diddled. There you go. If you don't understand a local market, then you're likely to get exploited one way or the other way. But that's the way it is. That's the way it is. So, life here. Hot, laid back, gentle. So pleased that we bought this house outside of a development, and in a normal barangay. We don't know our neighbours very well yet, apart from one of them, but they're friendly enough and pleasant enough. So yeah, it's good. It's good. And the projects, well, get the barbecue going, get some kitchen scales, get the bread maker going, and getting to make better bread. Finish off the veranda at the front with pleasant planting, if you can say that, and get the herbs planted at the back of the house. And then we need to finalise the survey and the boundaries for the plot that we originally bought before we bought the house, which is next door, so that we can get a fencing permit, fence part of that garden, fence off part of our plot as our garden for this house. get that built and start laying out the gardening. We're keen to do that. In an earlier video I talked about Cole, that's Reza's stepdad, being our gardener, cheekily, as Cole, because of his mum, has gone back to the city, and so has Reza's mum. So we're not going to be able to keep them as gardener. So I have reservations about whether or not I will acclimatise enough to be able to get up in the mornings and garden. It's interesting, I was reading a piece of history when the Europeans came to the Philippines. They regarded Philippine people, Filipinos, as lazy, because they spent most of the day, 10 o'clock until 4 o'clock, just flopping about. What the Europeans didn't realise was that Filipinos are up at 5 o'clock, 5:30 to 6 certainly, just before and around dawn. And if they're working in a garden or doing something which requires that sort of being outside and labouring, then that happens up until 9 o'clock. After that, it's time to think about getting out of the sun, getting out of the heat. And similarly, at the end of the day, sun sets, it gets dark at 6. People become more active outside from about 4:30. Outside the front of our house, where it's deserted all day, come 4:30, the children are out playing, and playing quite vigorously as well. I'm still suffering from the heat at that stage. So I'll say it again. I'll stop rambling. Take care. Please take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye. This house was built by a judge, and we've discovered that he made sure that what we call the beer balcony was built, because he actually had a sort of half outside office up here where he could sit and construct and write his judgments rather than being in the noisy city. Not sure I would have the self-discipline to actually do the writing. Oh, it's just lovely. Life in the Philippines, eh?